what did the TRIO Upward Bound program and student support services mean to you?
Well, for me, I went back to college. And what it means for me is that going back to college at my age later on in life, it was scary, especially after I was diagnosed with MS. I had the short-term memory loss. But I had a worker, an advisor that came from Access, TRIO. And whenever they heard that I was in the Upward Bound program, she just came to me, and she has been a rock for me. A rock for me. She has helped me and guided me along the way. I might be older, but there are a lot of younger, I'm going to say, there are a lot of children. They're teaching me the new way of doing things, which is hard for me, but it's the new way of doing things, and they're teaching me. You know, so, I mean, I love the TRIO. I love the TRIO.
The Upward Bound program for me was life-changing. I coming from the cotton fields of St. Matthews, South Carolina, to Central Falls, Rhode Island. I thought Central Falls was a dream world coming from St. Matthews. I thought I made it. I thought I was rich at that time. Can you believe it? But I didn't know what I was going to do about my education after high school. So after talking to one of my counselors, Leo LeClaire, and then another young man, Joe Costa, and they told me about the program, and I thought, oh, this is my way. I can go further. And then I thought, okay, now what about my siblings? I'm going to tell them about this program, and maybe they will take the opportunity, or maybe someone will offer them a full scholarship. But I tell you, Upward Bound was a life-changing program. And I would tell anyone who's struggling right now financially, struggling with any mental illness or whatever, in any schools in Prince George's County, Maryland, about the program. Right now, I'm meeting with them to let them know what's out there for them for their secondary education.
Upward Bound.
Can you take the mic a little closer?
How's that?
Perfect.
I loved the Upward Bound program, and I loved the preparatory enrollment program. I loved both of those programs, and what it meant to me is giving back. I became a teacher because I wanted to give back, because both of those programs were instrumental in making my dreams come true. And I wanted to help other people like me. That's why I went back to the high school where I graduated from, and that's where I became a teacher. I wanted to give back. That's what the program means to me.
Upward Bound and preparatory enrollment program made me a citizen of the world. I mean, you know, being in the same suites as people were coming from Cambodia and escaping the killing fields, and people who had seen family members being massacred, and yet they, or spending years in the jungle as refugees. It made my problem seem smaller in relation. It gave me perspective. And it made me feel like that my situation and my environment didn't define me. That's what it made me feel. And I always say to people who I mentor, I always say that the only thing I can do is throw you the rope. There are times when the rope could be tattered, it could be, but all I can do is throw you the rope. You have to climb. I can't climb for you, but I could throw you the rope. And for me, Upward Bound and it was the rope. It got me out, and once I got out, I saw this wide open field of possibilities of who I could become, and I didn't see anything that could stop me.
What was it like as a family, I mean, that you all had access to this? It was started with one sister and the next, and you each were having your eyes open, you were each having this help. So what did it give you a different sort of family perspective on education when you each saw higher education as possible? This is the route we can take.
Well, I'll speak up. Okay. Well, when my sister Diane came to Rhode Island in 1970, it was like she saved our lives. I mean, she made us realize how important education was, and whatever she learned in the high school, she taught us. So when she found out about the Upward Bound program, she told me. So we both went in together. It was always two of us at a time. And we always took care of one another. Always.
You know, it's like a great football team or basketball team. You always need a coach. You always need that one leader who's going to tell everyone what position to play, how to play it, that, you know, when your spirits get low, someone can just rally the troops.
Yes.
That's what my sisters have been for me, and Diane being at the head of it. We always had our positions that we played, and she was always like, it was like a great game of chess.
When you don't have a history of higher ed in the family, sometimes you don't see that as a possibility. So it seems like it was the most wonderful game of dominoes where one by one you each took into the next one that this is a possibility for us. We can be our first generation as a unit going into higher ed.
Well, you know, not to sound kumbaya, because I'm here with my sisters. I promised that I wouldn't cry and smear my makeup. But it's like a friend of mine sent me a text message last week, and she's going through something. And she said, Viola, how is this life sustainable? How do you sustain yourself in life? You know? And the only thing I can come up with is love. Oh. You know, love is what sustains you. And the love that I have for my sisters and my sisters have had for me, that love of wanting the best for each other, from each other, and leaving something in us, someone who's rooting for you, someone who sees you. That's what we had, because otherwise you're going it alone. That's what our life, that our world is about now, going it alone and being happy that you could go it alone. And if you can't go it alone, something must be wrong with you. But love has sustained us as sisters.
What were some educational landmarks for each of you in terms of the program? Did you all start in 8th grade or right after 8th grade?
I started after 8th grade, basically 9th grade.
Right.
And I started with Viola. But then again, we started at the same time.
I started at 14 when I was in 9th grade.
So,
I
so
started
were there
in 10th
landmarks
grade.
along the way, like, oh, I see this and this come into view, and I understand there's a gentleman here who was your acting teacher?
Yup, Ron
Yes.
Stetson.
And, I mean, what were the landmarks for each of you? When did your light bulb go on and say, I want to be a teacher? And you saw something, and you saw something, and then more somethings along the way. So when did each of you sort of, what were their landmarks, like educational landmarks for you?
In the 8th grade, I remember thinking, oh, my sister Diane and Anita, they've gone through the program, and for some reason, when they got into the PEP program, and they were in college, that did it for me. I knew that I was going to make things happen in my own life, and I wanted to be an archaeologist. I wanted to be an archaeologist all my life, and no one was gonna no one was going to come between me and that particular science. And my first year of college, I was an archaeology major. I wanted that so badly, and I knew that I could do it. That was my first, I think it was the first moment that I knew I could make my dream come true, travel the world, do all the things I ever wanted to do in life, when I saw my sister Diane enter Rhode Island College.
I do want to say that the PEP program is another, it's partially funded by the university, but also funded by the TRIO Student Support Services program. So it is a joint effort of the
Is that
institution.
Student Support Services?
That's correct.
Yeah. Did anything you get in these programs help you have courage to pursue an acting career? Because acting can be brutal, and now you're
Not can be brutal.
now you're a huge star, but you've toiled in the field for many, many years, so I'm sure you have a lot of rejection and things.
Yes.
I've read enough to.
I still get rejection, yeah.
But,
It never stops.
Did some of the skills, persistence, or just positive mindset that fueled you over the last 25 years, did any of that come from Upward Bound programs or the student support services?
Well, almost all of it did. I mean, I can't say all of it because I have my mom here and my sisters here. But the thing about Upward Bound is you had teachers who came to teach you who had a passion for teaching. They weren't in it for the money. They weren't in it for ego. Maybe some of them were, I don't know, but I didn't see it. They were in it for the passion. And so because they were in it for the passion, they told you the truth. Like my first esteemed acting teacher, Ron Stetson, who told us, you are gonna fail. So many times. You could go, I remember specifically what he said, you could go on an audition every single day for months and never get a job. Ever. You know? And there was something about, no one tells you about failing. They always say that you're gonna see it, you're gonna believe it, you're gonna conquer it, and I saw my dreams to fruition. Nobody tells you you're gonna fail, and nobody sort of is with you in the field when you fail. And there was something about Upward Bound, the teachers who sort of told you the truth about what the road was gonna be, and guided you. That made all the difference in my life, because I think that what happens sometimes when you do fail, most of the people I know anyway, and I meet a lot of people in acting. I actually pull rank here. You meet a lot of people when you act, okay? Most people, when they fail, they stop. Whatever they do, they just stop. They fold, they dig a hole, they basically die. But it was great that I was taught that failure is a part of the whole journey of life. You don't park your car in success. And when you fail, you learn, you get back up. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. It doesn't mean that that's not what you're meant to do. And I learned all of that at Upward Bound.
Did anyone else have a question?
I would like to speak to, we had a teacher, he taught in Upward Bound, and every Friday when it was time to go home, he would give us a ride home. And I remember all the other students saying, your teacher's going to give you a ride home? And everyone would gather and watch us as we put our bags into his car, and he would give us a ride home every Friday because he was kind. And there were so many kind teachers in that program. So many.
And you know what? What I remember is the counselors at Upward Bound. During the year,
Yes.
you would go to class every Saturday during the school year from 8 to 1. And so you had counselors that were, and we had Jeff Kenyon, who was a counselor at the time, but we called him Jeff. So whenever you were at school, we went to Central Falls High School, you were going through anything, he said, call me, whenever you need me, and I'll be there. And I said, well, anything? He's like, even if you're going through something. I remember I was having anxiety one day, so I called him. He came into science class and interrupted science class and said, I need to talk to Viola. I said, hey, Jeff. And my teacher screamed at me and said, don't you call him Jeff. You call him Mr. Kenyon. And Jeff said, excuse me, I told her that she could call me Jeff. And Viola, let's go outside and let's talk. And he took me outside and he talked to me for 10 minutes. And I went back into class and I continued. It's that personal connection that you get. You can't put a price tag on it. You know, when to be seen and heard and valued, you cannot put a price tag on it. That's Upward Bound.
What is it? Oh,
I want to talk about that also.
Mhm.
That personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know how many problems young teenagers go through at home, at school. They went through a lot of problems back then, just like they're going through right now by being bullied and all. And when those problems keep hitting on a young child, teenager, you know, they get stressed out. Dangerous things can happen. So when someone tells you that you can call them at any time, and you can spill your guts, tell them everything. And sometimes that you need to put it all out there, because if you don't and hold that in, dangerous things happen.
Yeah.
Wonderful program.
and so much of a campaign that's going on for COE is about how families uplift each other, and when one starts, the others can follow in a path to higher ed. So what is it like for you all to share this evening together? You have many fancy evenings. The Emmys are in 2 days.
Which I'm not going to. But yeah, it's fancy.
It's got a red carpet, and afterwards someone analyzes what you wore. But what does it mean to you to be here? You have many honors in your life, but to be here with your sisters, to share an honor with them and with your beautiful mother, and about something so deeply meaningful to you as a family. What does it mean to each of you?
It's wonderful. I've always known we would be recognized for something, not bad. I knew we would be recognized for how we work with each other and how we teach others, and the love. That's every love, education, even in our jobs. Okay, we think of each other. Any job I've ever had, I always thought it was less than anything that my sister Dolores, who's the teacher, who I think is the best, that's the best job anyone could ever have. They teach doctors and lawyers and everyone. So I'm glad that all of us are being recognized.
I love being here with my sisters. This is a rare occasion that I get to be in the same room on a happy occasion with my mom, my daughter, my nephew, the rest of my family. I love it. I love family. It's all about family.
Yes, it is.
For me, I'm aware a lot of focus gets put on me because I'm an actress, all that. But I just feel like what I do is about success, but it's not about significance. It's not about legacy. That's what I have with my sisters. I just remembered when we would play together, we always wanted to be somebody. At one point, we wanted to be the Hot Shots. Remember the Hot Shots?
Yeah, the Hot Shots.
We couldn't play an instrument, but we wanted to be the Hot Shots. And then after that, we wanted, to be, an acting legacy family. But all of it was rooted in being something, leaving something, and who knew that this is what it was going to lead to? It's led to this moment right here.
I'm Victoria Pasquarino from PBS, went off the air crack, so I apologize for seeing the precedent. I had a question for this young lady right here.
If she doesn't want it, if she doesn't answer it, we'll just move on.
Exactly, and maybe you all three or four of you could answer instead. So moms, I guess mothers in particular, parents too, but mothers in particular play a huge role in, I guess you may call it informal education, and they kind of can act as a check also on the formal education of the school. Not in a bad way, a supportive way of a critical eye. And I'm wondering, what role do mothers play, maybe for yourselves as moms, for your mom, in the education of a child that maybe formal could miss?
But my mother was the leader. She was the leader. She, her strength, no matter what she went through, her strength made us strong. And to see her working with the young kids in the Head Start program, that gave me courage, okay? I knew I could go further. I stayed back in the first grade, and you know, that hurt me so bad. And I thought I didn't want to make my mom ashamed. I wanted to do whatever I could to keep her happy. And I told her I was going far, okay? I told her, watch me. I'm going to make it happen. Because I didn't want to hurt her. Because she had that strength. She keep, no matter what you're going through, she went through a lot, okay? And that strength made me stronger. The good things and the bad things made me strong. And I'm sure it made my sister strong, too.
We could never do anything wrong in my mother's eyes, ever.
That is so
No matter what it was.
It was always somebody else's fault.
And I'm telling you, this woman right here, and I know she's got a cane in her hand right now, but she is a fighter. I have seen her thrown down many things to fight and to speak up. You know, in the Blackstone Valley Community Action Program, there is the reason why there is a health clinic in Central Falls is because of this woman. The reason why we had after-school programs when we were young is because of this woman. It's because she was never afraid to speak up. I was at a meeting when the Blackstone Community Action Program, when they were holding their annual elections, and she felt that they were rigged. I mean, how many times have we felt elections were rigged? We go home, we may have, you know, a little cocktail, and we talk about it, and we get pissed. Well, this woman did not do that. She said it in the room. She screamed about it in the room. She stood up in the room, and then she walked out. This is a woman who is just bold, never been afraid, and I see it in every single one of my sisters.
And please do not ever tell her, shh. Never.
Can I ask a really quick follow-up to that? Did you all talk about cuts and folks who threatened to cut TRIO programs? Because I'm wondering, as a follow-up to the importance of family and education and your school, Lauren, you should feel free to respond on this too. It's really hard to kind of make government 5-decade-year program sound sexy. SSS, student support services, and a whole bunch of, it just is really hard. I guess as an education journalist, I'm wondering, you're lending your voice in such a unique way here, and you have this award coming your way. When there are politicians, lobbyist groups who threaten to cut, again, a program that's been around since the Great Society, how do you think your voice can lend to making sure that does not happen?
Can I say something first? And then I'd like to hear everybody's. One thing about TRIO, 2 nights ago, the Congress, the Senate and the House met on the appropriations bill. They included an additional $50 million for TRIO. It's the fourth increase we've received in a row. That's in large part because people just, bold people, young people that are students, alumni of the programs, have stood up and gone to their representatives and said, this program made a huge difference in my life. It's definitely going to have a difference, make a difference when a family as strong as this and as bold as this stands up and says, hey, this was crucial. This kind of talent might not ever have been known to Central Falls. It may never have been known nationally. If they never been known in the Department of Agriculture, it might never have been known across Providence unless we had access to step into Upward Bound. And we are extremely grateful that they had a bold mother and who could be quieted, and we are extremely grateful to them. We are extremely grateful.
I have written letters of support for the Upward Bound program out of Rhode Island College when I have been asked to. I go to bat for that program anytime they ask me to. I am a teacher at Central Falls High School. I have connections with students, former students, so I work for that program whenever they ask me to.
And Dolores also, I'm going to give her credit for this, is she also was the one who came up with the idea for the Upward Bound Scholarship Fund in '88. She said, wouldn't it be great if we left that legacy? And she's always pushed me to write and in support of the program. But, you know, what better advocate than people who have gone through it personally? The personal testimonies of success. The personal testimonies of all these kids who are coming from quote unquote nothing, who are doing extraordinary things in this world. I mean, they don't just look good on paper. I mean, they're literally changing the world. And these are kids who are going into the program. Some already have kids. Some of them, I had a friend in Upward Bound had malaria. I mean, malaria. And these people are running for office. They want to change their communities. I mean, come on. It's a no-brainer.
And you know, with me being, going back to school later on in life after being out of school for 35 years, well, Upward Bound always made it a challenge to learn. It was always a game for me. It was always a personal goal. I'm gonna make a better grade this time. I'm gonna do this better. You know, and well, I had my children and I wasn't in school and then I got diagnosed with MS and then I had the short-term memory loss, so. And my sisters, even my daughters, they believed more in me than I believed in myself, you know? And when I went back to school, wow, I found the student support. And Stephanie Cruz, she's part of the TRIO program. And she gives me everyone that works for the TRIO, they gave me all the support I needed that would help me become a productive member of society and to be able to give back to my community, you know, because I've taken so much away. I'm going to make sure that I give it back. I'm going to pay it forward. That's why I'm in social services, and my concentration is substance abuse.
One more question?
One more question first, but our colleague came a little late. Do you have one more question?
Do you want to ask one more question, otherwise we can do the vote?
Yes,
No
I mean,
pressure.
I'll just pick one. Yes, okay, that's others. I know, the college retention, I think 1 in 5 kids who goes to college, they never graduate, and many graduate in many more years than 4, often it's 6 or 7. And like you just said, disease, illness, having family, kids, you have to have a job. It's not,
Yeah,
it's not
you
simple.
know, that's, I don't want to be part of the problem of society. I want to be part of the solution. So, I mean, I might be the oldest person in class, even older than the professors most of the time. And I let them all know I'm older than you are. And I might not have a lot of degrees already, but I have a lot of experience when it comes to real life and living the life, just living the life of someone who has less than.
Let me say, too, it is true that fewer than half of the young people and adults whose parents did not graduate from college, once they enrolled, graduated. You know, the graduation rates are nowhere where we want them to be. And it's great to see the president of Rhode Island College here, because oftentimes we look to the students and say, well, it's the students, they have all these problems, or these, you know, they bring these deficits or whatever. And rarely do we say, hey, these institutions have a whole lot of problems and deficits too. I don't think the sisters' experience of higher education was overwhelmingly welcoming and non-racist, and that they got the resources they needed when they needed them. And even though it wasn't yesterday that they started college, we still have hundreds of thousands of students that need support, that need increased financial aid, and hopefully the message that this sends is that the issues they encountered and overcame with support, so many other individuals with so much talent can overcome them as well. But that it's not just going to happen, you know, it's just not miraculous and going to happen unless we fight for it to happen.
And like one of the student support services through COVID, the analysis, the studies say that support for the 4 years, particularly with this group, is so necessary and that it works. And I'm wondering, do you all have any memories of support that you got when you were in college that helped you through a tough time? And I apologize, I hope none of these questions were asked.
No. When I was at Rhode Island College for the PEP program, we could go at any time to the PEP office and talk to a counselor. And just, you know, doing the summer component, which is no longer there, and I really want to advocate right now for that summer component. Okay, because it was an incredible to prepare. You know, what ended up happening during the summer component of the program is that we got a feel of what it would be like in a college classroom. And that was really helpful, really helpful. And then we had support all the time.
And not just with the counselors, other students.
Yes.
Okay, other students, you think you're going through so much, and to find out that someone else is going through 10 times more than you are.
10 times.
And you could offer some support because of what you went through. So it was all around, not just the counselors, all the teachers, but the other students.
You know, in a weird way, I think the reason why Upward Bound students are so unbelievable, truly unbelievable, is because they had it hard. You know, it's like Denzel said at one of his commencement speeches. He says ease is almost a bigger obstacle to success than hardship. You know, when you know that you had it hard already, You already know life is hard. You already know that, you know, you're going to get nicks and scrapes. You already know that people out there don't feel like you could do it, or may not even feel like you're anything, that you're nothing. That you're already starting the race, that you have to be extraordinary. You already have to be extraordinary to overcome all of that. You just do. You already have to have this kind of inner gauge, which, I don't know, coming from God, coming from a divine presence, coming from upward bound, that seed of saying you're worthy. You just are. You're not defined by living in a jungle for 4 years, by being maimed. One girl who saw her father get murdered and was held down by militia and was forced to watch her father get murdered. And so she had a really horrific stutter. But guess what else she had? She had this beautiful spirit, and she had undeniable intelligence. And it was Upward Bound who took her from the public school system and showed her that, you know, I know that was a horrific memory, but guess what? There's a whole other life out there for you, you know. But yeah, that's what we have. We're soldiers. That's what we're soldiers.
Yes.